Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about, I have 30 projects going on, and of course I start another one. So I had this vision in my head. So I got this 63 Galaxy Ford 500 XL that they reissued, I think a little bit a while back. And it's an older kit, so it's a typical older AMT, not crazy detailed kits. And of course this is going to be a curbside. And so we're going to take a look at that today. And then there's some other things I need to discuss with you that we're going to look at too. So this is my 63 Ford Galaxy. So let's talk about I did the effect of weathered paint. Now this is still under construction, so we're still doing some mocking up, and I did a kind of weathered look on it. So my method for doing this kind of weathered paint is I start out with, and I don't use this normally, so don't get your panties in an uproar, but I started out with the R Word flat red primer. Now, because of what I was doing this weathering, the finish isn't as important as a nice paint job. So I put this on, and I stand back and I put it on kind of pebbly and rough, because I want that effect. Because when I start sanding down through layers, I want to get like the checking and pebbly look to it. So I start with this. So we did that, and then even like towards, like, if I let it go a couple hours or a day, it's still kind of sticky, but I don't care because I'm putting other stuff on top of it. So then I went over with a really light coat of Tamiya TS14 black. They're standard. You can use a flat black. It don't have to be a gloss black, but I just used this, and then I misted a coat on of that, not totally covering the whole car. And then for this one, I used Tamiya TS7 Racing White, which is more closer to that Ford white. It's kind of yellowish, but it's not like an ivory. So it's a white, but it's not like a it's more like not a clean bright blue white. It's more like a yellow white. So that's what I use for that. And then after that, then I start, and I do that all in one day. I can pretty much do this, and do this in one day. Now I am using a dehydrator, so that might be, you might need to take 2 days to do this, but pretty much I can get that all on there in one day. And then usually I will let it dry at least a day at that point. And then after that, I will take, I got the Spey sanding blocks, and you can pick any grit that you want. I think on this particular one, I stayed around, I think I used 600 on this one. So I got the, 600, and I wet sanded it. And then you can, there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, you can kind of make it the way you want. This is just the way I did mine. And then after I'm done with that, then of course I use my great trusty Krylon crystal clear flat. And of course, I love this stuff. And the great thing about this stuff is, like, if I'm not happy, like there's some spots I wanted to redo. I did a couple spots I wasn't happy with, and I can go in and just mask off a little bit and blend it, like spot it in, like it just blends. You don't have to do anything special for it. So I love this stuff. Of course, you know that. And then my interior, I used, I like that darker red interiors with whites. So of course I just used good old testers. This is the dark red rouge. They still sell this at Hobby Lobby. I get it in there. I get a whole bunch of this stuff. I just like this color a little bit better than, say, a more normal red. So this is a little darker. See the difference there? I mean, I have used brighter reds, but I kind of like that darker red interior. And then I got away from flocking. I'm not a big flocker anymore. I switched to embossing powders. So probably when I'm going away, so probably next week sometime, or maybe the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna flock, or not flock, I'm gonna embossing powder the interior floor, and I'll show you that. I just think it looks more realistic than the flocking powder. I mean, man, I must have had 10, 15 containers of flocking, and I got rid of it. I sold it. I just don't use it. It goes everywhere. It just seems to always keep coming off for me. And the great thing about embossing powder is you can actually paint over it. So I'm gonna head with embossing powder in this. I have some red, and we'll do that down the road. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you about today, and I already have, now I see these, what I've been doing lately on these old AMT kits is I've been sanding down all the seam lines on the chrome. Let me just zoom in a little bit on this. So I got them already cleaned up, and so that's ready to dechrome and rechrome. I am doing a kind of like a Thunderbolt type version, so I drilled out the center hub headlights, and I'm going to put some duct work in there for you know, 2.4s with the ram air, or not, I guess ram air, kind of like the Thunderbolt had. I might put a motor in this. I haven't decided yet. Now, I'm gonna break down. So then, the other thing I'm gonna do, if you've watched any of my recent videos on vacuum forming, where I've taken some old glass from these old kits and vacuum form windows to make them thinner instead of these Coke bottle windows, I am gonna do that on this. And I'm also gonna do the headlights. I'm gonna make an impression of these for the headlights, and then I'm going to vacuum form headlights, and I'll drill these out a little bit and put chrome in there, and then put glass headlights in them, like some of the newer AMTs that they've been repairing and bringing out with headlight lenses on it. So we're going to be making some headlight lenses for this down the road too. And then I have a set of Zforce made me a set of the 64 Galaxy Retro Mod 20 and 22 staggereds. And what I really want to discuss is how I detailed and paint this. And also ZMAX now sells, he's got all these tires, and he didn't sell valve stems. So if you go on, he should have them on tonight. If you go on his website, he sells tire valves, and I'm going to show you those here in a second. Here I got a bunch of them off. We're going to talk about those. I'm going to show you those. He sells them for 40 stems in a pack, and they're $4 for like 40. So you know, you've got tires, you need tire valves. So we're going to look at how I did those, and that's what I really want to show you. Is everybody asks me, why do your wheels look different than my wheels? What are you doing that's different? And I'm going to show you the detail of what makes the subtle differences of what makes these wheels look the way they do. So we're going to break that down here in a second. So hold on, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Now remember, in an earlier how-to, I showed you how to paint and chrome your wheels. So these are painted, and you can see how clean I left the outside, so we have a good mate to there. Same thing here, I got these cleaned out. And then I pre-drill my holes for these. So I've taken my calipers, and if you don't have calipers, honestly, I've been building models forever. I'm 67, I'll soon be 68. And I just got these like 2 years ago. And like, I don't know why I didn't have them. And these were just cheap Harbor Freight ones. I get them at Harbor Freight. But so what I did is I measured the actual valve stem. I took one of them off and measured the post. These are the prototypes. He's got the new ones we made with a longer, I guess the male part that goes into your wheel. We made that longer, so it's a little bit easier to stick them in the hole. So you have longer shaft to put them in there. But I measure that, and then I have one of these, and I don't remember where I got this, but I think you can get them just about anywhere. One of these drill sets, the drill stand with the circular one with all the drill bits in it. And then I will measure whichever one I think is closest, and I usually go just the next size up, so you get the hole is easy to put in there, because I do drill that before I paint the rim. So I allow a little bit for the paint on that when I do the chrome spray. And then I always, because these things are tiny and I can't see, I just put a little piece of tape on my table when I cut these off, so they got a place to go, because you know you're gonna lose some. So they just come right off, and then they stay right on there. And then I recently got one of these at Hobby Lobby. And this is in the jewelry department. And it's got like little sticky, I learned this from DawgsModelCars and more. He showed a video on these things, and they're just like sticky. And then usually I just roll it to the edge. And I pick it up. That's so cool, isn't it? It's just something like sticky stuff on there. And so then you can place it, you know, then you can pick it up. And like I would do it I do mine from the back. Now here I already have this one installed, but I would put this in the back, pop it in the hole. And what I do is I put my super glue on the back side with a pin. So the glue is in the hole, but not all over everything. And then when you push that valve stem in and this dries, then you can file that down with a file, so that the outside perimeter going back into your wheel, because of the tolerances, is still clean. So you can file that down, you know, and keep that nice and clean. Sorry about that. All right, and then I paint mine. I know they probably would be chrome in these things, but I paint mine black just so they contrast and you can see them. I just like them black. I know they'd probably be chrome, but too much chrome, you can't see it. Okay, and so then, now these wheels are so nice. I didn't prime these. I didn't put any gloss black on these like I normally do. I just hit these straight with 2 shots of Revell spray chrome. And again, I'm not touching. I don't touch in here. I'm just touching on my edges. And then I used, so to do the red, white, and blue in the center cap, I just use a Vallejo red, a Vallejo blue. This is a dark blue. This is a flat red. And then I use their flat cold white. And I thin that down with water and make it kind of soupy. And then I have a really thin brush, and I'll go in there and let it kind of, like, once you touch it, it'll kind of spread. So you can do the center. These are red, white, and blue, just like they were from Ford. If you look up 64 Galaxy lights. And then, of course, I took my black 0.01 or 0.0 rapidograph. I took my rapidograph pen, and then I put the little black, there's a black shadow or a little black ring around the outside. Oops, sorry about that. Right around the hub. And again, if you look like a real one, that's what they had on it. And then all these fins, I took Vallejo. This is a gray. On the wheels themselves, the hubcaps, the real ones, it just looks like they're stainless, but they're not polished in all those little indentations. So I just used a London gray, and I made that soupy. And then I took a toothpick and I sharpened the point a little bit so it would fit in here. And then I went in here and dropped in gray in all these little louvers individually. So I did that on all my wheels. So then you got a nice shadow in there. And it's very subtle. Like, I don't think people are going to notice that I did that, but they're going to notice the wheels have a different look. You could probably have two cars with identical wheels, and mine are going to look different because I've added those shadows. Oh, and also I added, because you got that so soupy, that paint, I also added right here, there's a little indentation on the 3 spinners there. I added gray in there too, because again, on the real ones, it looks like they're not painted, but they look like they're not part of the polished wheel. They look like more like a shadow than anything else. And so then when you're done, so you have a wheel, but it's, because that's a lot of chrome, but that's got definition, you know. That's what makes the difference on some of these wheels, is having some shadows and stuff. So there's a good bit of work in that wheel, but they look really good when you're done. Now, I don't have the ride height set on this yet. And then when I mount these, because it's going to be low, I'm probably going to have all my valve stems facing down so you can at least see them. I'm probably going to go, oops, you can't see that, can you? I'm probably going to go somewhere like where you can see the center cap on that. Probably somewhere in there. I don't know yet. Like I said, sometimes I don't really set my ride height until I'm done, pretty much. So, and of course on the bottom, this is just going to be a standard. I haven't painted, detailed that yet, so I'm not going to get crazy underneath of it. I'll probably do a little weathering and stuff. So that's how I did these sets of wheels. And I think they look really, really good. But that's how they're done. Wheels and tires makes everything good, especially in model cars. It's very important to add those shadows in there. It makes, I'm telling you, you can have a car with these same wheels. It could be identical to my car, and if those shadows and stuff aren't added to the wheels, it just makes it look so much different. So that's going to be it for today. So don't forget, order some valve stems. Oh, I got a new mug from Kelly Coons. Finally got my mug. Oops, hold on, let me back up a little bit. Hold on. From Model Car Archaeology. I love this mug. I love his logo. This is a really cool logo. I got my new mug. And we got new valve stems. What else? Oh. I just got my new auto modeler. And this is Tom Kren's car. Tom's a good buddy of mine. So it was great to see. You know what they say, if you can't have your own car on a magazine, have a buddy who has his car in a magazine. That's the way I like it. So that's a new auto modeler. Just got that. I haven't reduced them down for my little collection. I still got my original first issues here, so I gotta get some of them reduced, photo reduced. I haven't done that yet. And what else? That's gonna be it, except for, don't forget, sorry, bumped it. I'm so unprepared. I had to dig for it. You get 10% off on all Zforce products. Just type in Rake 10 and you'll be set. That's going to be it for this episode. So we see you on the next. Oh, one more thing. Next week, we're going to have a big reveal of some new product that is just going to blow your minds away. So don't forget that next week, probably next Wednesday. Hopefully by next Wednesday, I'll have it ready. You're just not going to believe what we got coming up. So we'll see you then. All right. See you. Bye.